What's up, guys? Tugi here, back again with some more NHL 16 and my New York Islanders GM Mode series. And in this episode, we wrap up Season 3. And right now, we're in a pretty good spot, second place in our division. And I like where we're going. We're, of course, at the All-Star break, just a little bit over halfway done with the season. These are, of course, the lineups we are rolling with. No changes, really, other than Goodrow being put back up on the top line. We also made Shane Prince a righty, or a right wing, Brock Nelson a left wing, as opposed to it being on the other side. But I really like where the team's at right now. You know, Leddy and Boychuk, I feel like, is a pretty solid top pairing. Could it be a little bit better? Yes, but if Pelech and Pulock, either one of them, become what they should be, we have no need to go out and get them. Basically, right now, it's a matter of patience. I really do like where this team is set up. And who knows, maybe I will end up, deciding here as we approach the trade deadline to make a move. But right now, I don't see the need to. I do think that we have a very good team. I do want to make the playoffs this year, and maybe that's where the pressure to make a trade will come in. The deadline on March 3rd, Saturday, March 3rd. We also have a game against the Rangers on that date, and that is where we are going to sim to. This should be hopefully, and I normally say this and it never ends up being the case, but this should hopefully be a little bit of a shorter episode. So let's see what happens here as we go through the rest of January and through the month of February leading up to the trade deadline. So here's the deal, and I shit you not, P.A. Parenteau's back from injury. Adam Pelech just broke his leg and is out until late April. I shit you not. I'll show you guys the injury report right now, and it's not available. Regardless, I was talking about probably not wanting to make a trade. We certainly need to make one now. I think, who is it? Robert Bortuzzo's in right now? Yeah, Bortuzzo's in at the moment. We would actually need to have Butler in. So, needless to say, we need to find a new D partner for Ryan Pulock, or maybe, and I don't know, I think I'd rather keep Calvin DeHaan. He's not the biggest point getter. That's the question. Do I put DeHaan with Pulock and get somebody else who's really good, or do I get someone who's just adequate and put him with Pulock to keep DeHaan on that second pairing? I don't know, but needless to say, I am quite frustrated about the timing of this injury. And guys, we have found our replacement. He's a rental, but he's a damn good rental. It is Cale Fleury, 7D potential, and Schuldhaus, AHL top 2D potential, along with St. Louis's third-round pick in the upcoming draft. It was our most valuable third-round pick, so I'm guessing that they're not doing too well right now. For Danny Hamhuis. Dan Hamhuis, the newest New York Islander, will be playing now on that second pairing with Travis Hamonic, which is insane. He is an 87 overall. He's dropped now to an 86 because of the morale system, but that is fine by me. He was on their trading block, so it was much easier to get that deal done, and that instantly makes our defense even better. Of course, I wanted Pelech in the lineup to have him, really grow and get that overall number up. But there's no denying, with this team, this is a playoff contender caliber defense. 89 overall Leddy, 87 Boychuk, essentially an 87 Hamhuis, 87 Hamonic, and then DeHaan and Pulock on that third pairing. This team is looking very good, and we didn't have to give up much to get him. Cale Fleury was a relatively high draft pick, but again, high 7D potential. I don't see him working out. Schuldhaus, we don't really need. Of course, we're doing fine in terms of defensive prospects right now. You count the guys we have on our team already, with the Wotherspoon, Finn, and Van de Sample getting ready to come up. Clinton Rafalski's there. I don't expect him to make the NHL, but then guys like Cal Foote. We're good in terms of defensive prospects, and now we're looking very good on defense at the moment. March 1st has arrived. We are 2 days away from trade deadline day, and we currently have a 38-17-7 record. The Islanders are in an absolute dogfight for that division title. Again, things were a little bit rocky after we left the All-Star break with the Pelech injury and acquiring Dan Hamhuis. But in February, we really started to pull it together. A shootout loss to the Canucks, a loss to Carolina, a loss to Tampa, and that was it. Some gigantic wins over the Penguins, over the Rangers, over the Capitals. 2 wins over the Capitals, who have just dominated us throughout this series since we started it. So right now, we're in a very good spot. We are in first place in the division, just over the Caps. But again, Pittsburgh's right there. Washington's right there. And we have had a couple of injuries as well. We're only 1 point above Washington right now. Pittsburgh's actually a little bit further back. It's going to be a very, very tough road to win that division title. Michael Dal Colle missed a couple of weeks. Dan Hamhuis just missed a couple of games, but he is back now. And we have had as well, here as I fix the lineup, quite a few trade offers, and I've been really tempted to do it, But if we were, for example, to get Antoine Vermette from Arizona, he's still in Arizona, of course, we started this series before the Coyotes cut him. If we were to go out and get, say, Jussi Jokinen from the Florida Panthers, or St. Louis, who are looking to trade Paul Stastny, David Perron, Toronto looking to get rid of JVR and Leo Komarov, where would we place them? Our top 6 right now is pretty much set in stone. Matthew Barzal is having a damn fine season. And really, he hasn't gone up beyond the 84, but he's doing better than I certainly anticipated. And again, I want to honor at least the majority of Andrew Ladd's contract, and we still have a long way to go. Same thing with Anders Lee. We could easily acquire one of those guys I mentioned, but that would put Anders Lee or Shane Prince down on the 4th line, and that's just not too smart. Like, yeah, we could drop Casey Cizikas, down to the 4th line. He's not the best third liner in the world, but say we drop Cizikas down there, we'd probably trade Brock Nelson, maybe P.A. Parenteau. So it's like we could have a 4th line like this and have whoever on the 3rd line. I'm just wondering if that's worth it. Should we suppress Casey Cizikas here, who again, he's not the best third liner in the world? It would make our team better. Brock Nelson's really struggling because he's been on the 4th line for most of the season. It is a very, very tough decision on what we want to do here, and even now I'm not too sure. Of course, defensively, I'm very happy with the way things are. I do want Hamhuis to bounce back to that 87 overall, and Ben Bishop, for God's sake, is up to an 89 overall, a .922 save percentage thus far, and even Greiss bouncing back a little bit. His save percentage is still much lower than I would have hoped for, but that is the big dilemma right now, is do we get rid of Brock Nelson and put Cizikas down there on that 4th line to try and make this team better? And I genuinely don't know if that's what we should do. I'm tempted to call this an episode right here. I mean, Anton Vermette wouldn't be too expensive, and you can see he has a very good point total. He'd be very good to have on that 3rd line as a rental, and we wouldn't have to give up anything, if anything. I mean, that might be a dead even trade with him and Nelson. We might even be able to tack on a couple of lower picks there in our favor. And you know what? I am going to call this an episode. I'm going to show you guys who we could potentially get, and you let me know what you think. But remember that whoever we get is going to be on that 3rd line, and that puts Cizikas down to the 4th, and Brock Nelson's going to have to go. Jussi Jokinen is having a good season, not as good as Anton Vermette, and he is also worth, or has a little bit more trade value than Vermette. Vermette's probably my go-to. It looks like David Perron's been traded. Paul Stastny, I'd love to have him. He's having a great season, but I don't think, is that worth the rental if we're going to put him on the 3rd line? I don't think so. I mean, we could put him on the 2nd line, but we don't want to drop Barzal. We don't want to drop Anders Lee, do we? I mean, we could. We could drop Anders Lee down, but is that really fair? Is that getting the most out of Anders Lee? You can see the dilemma here, where I want to keep it realistic, but I still want to win and give our team the best chance. And again, that is why I am posing the question to you guys: what do we do? Do we make a trade, or do we keep the team the way it is, the team that is currently winning right now, or do we try to improve our odds? Although that may not pan out for us as Toronto, and Toronto's actually not looking to trade either of those guys. They might not even be there at that point. But let me know. I am going to call this an episode. We are currently in first place in our division. We're going to battle it out in the next episode for that division title. But let me know. And as it is, I completely forgot, Anders Lee is already on that 3rd pairing. I was mistaken because when Dal Colle was injured, he was on the 2nd pairing. But, I don't want to drop Strome. I don't want to drop Ladd, really, either. I mean, Andrew Ladd's having a pretty decent season there with Barzal and Strome. And then, of course, the top line is just set in stone. They're tearing it up. So that's the thing. Do we trade Brock Nelson for someone like Vermette or UC Jokinen? Or do we leave this team with the way the lineups were, which was this setup right here, with Cizikas on the third, Nelson, Smith, and Parento on that fourth line? And, of course, the defense is set in stone. AHL, things are looking good, too. Tyler Soy, Jeremiah Addison going up in overall. Ho-Sang's up to an 81. He might make his debut with the Islanders next year. Bradley's looking good. I'm really liking that trade, to acquire Bradley and Addison. That's looking like it's going to work out for us pretty well. But yeah, I won't delay any further, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching this episode. If you have enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button to help support the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already to continue following this series. And I'll see you guys in the next one, where we will figure out just what exactly we are doing with this team, and we will march forward towards the playoffs and hopefully a division title.